Hello, everybody. Good to be back with you again this year. Buffalo, New York. Steve Rondinero, Michael Cesario back again this year. And what a week of eliminations we've had here. We have a real topsy-turvy tug of war for the title going on.
Steve, we've got a four-way race for first place. We've got the Madison Scouts, the Blue Devils from Concord, California, the Cadets of Bergen County, and last night's defending champion, the Cavaliers from Rosemont, Illinois.
Let's give you a taste of what you can expect. First of all, that electrifying sound of the Madison Scouts. We have our other counterpart with us, Dennis DeLucia. We never quite know where to find Dennis.
I don't know where he is now. My guess is he's upfield, backfield, somewhere.
Dennis?
Guys, you would not believe where I am right now. I've got the best seat in the house tonight. We're going to take you and the viewer all over the place, where viewers never get to go on a drum corps show. We're going to take you outside the stadium, back sideline, all over the place. I can't wait to go. First corps on the field. I'm going to go find my seat. See you guys later. All right, guys, it's time to find my seat. Yeah, they told me the best seats in the house. See where I am here. Oh, okay, this is it. This is it. Oh, this is great. Whoa, where am I? I'm beginning to get a little suspicious.
Well, maybe worth sticking around just to see where Dennis ends up by the end of the night.
That is for sure.
Now, we've already had a very peculiar evening here. We've had heavy rain showers just before showtime. We've got a pretty stiff breeze down here on the field, a lot of humidity. Is that going to affect the performers?
Boy, is it ever. This is dangerous conditions out here on the AstroTurf. We've got slippery, wet conditions down here, and it's going to make a difference in the intonation, too. Brass and the keyboards react completely differently to the cold temperatures.
But on championship night, you got to rise above any obstacle.
Speaking of any obstacle, what about the reliable Rondo predictions for 95? You became roadkill on the information superhighway.
I became a yield sign, perhaps, but we went on the internet on Thursday night before the quarterfinal scores were known and went with the Cavaliers for our prediction. I'm sticking with it here in the finals. And we have some interesting feedback on the internet after that.
Well, 48% agreed with you, but 52% were leaning in other three ways. So I think we've got a real contest on our hands.
Just goes to show you it's going to be a whale of a night here. And we're about to begin with the Magic of Orlando, an all-original show and a tribute to the land.
From Florida, here they go.
On the field from Orlando, Florida, Magic of Orlando. Are the judges ready? Drum majors, Kerry LaCava and Jason Cooper. Is your corps ready? Magic of Orlando, you may take the field for competition.
Magic of Orlando, our first corps in competition tonight, and their second year here in the top 12 at DCI. A strong new face on the scene, performing all original music this year, a program called Dance Animal.
By Robert Smith. What an original idea he has. Everything has a unique sound, and it is unique to Magic. He only composes his drum corps work for them. It's amazing work.
And we heard segments entitled Sea, Land, and Sky,
Sky with that beautiful, beautiful seagull crossing over the whole field. Wonderful, wonderful visual images.
Nice way to get us kicked off tonight, the Magic of Orlando. Our second corps of the night, the Carolina Crown, a brand new face here in the DCI Top 12.
What a way to break into DCI with Stormworks by Stephen Melillo.
This thing is rather fast-moving and rather raucous.
Really raucous and really wonderful. The crowd eats it up, Steve.
Enjoy the new corps from Charlotte.
On the field from Charlotte, North Carolina, Carolina Crown. Are the judges ready? Drum major Ralph Stewart. Is your corps ready? Carolina Crown may take the field for competition.
Modern music, dissonant music, very, very driving.
But you know, it got the crowd going, and they really understand the scale and scope of this kind of an activity with the huge lightning bolts and the big, oversized flags. Really exciting production.
What an entree for this corps. Our cameras were behind the stadium yesterday when they learned of their score and learned that they were going to make it in the finals. Something to behold. Watch.
We're waiting for the score for Carolina Crown. They have an opportunity tonight to make finals for the first time in the Corps' history. Let's see what happens.
So now we got a chance to be among the elite. We got a chance for one more.
Just imagine the excitement first time that a kid makes it into the finals here at DCI.
Steve, I have been there, and I gotta tell you, it is the most exciting feeling. It is elation, it is calm, and there's a little bit of sadness inside knowing that you've actually passed a goal.
What a night here for Carolina Crown. Up next from Newark, Delaware, we have a familiar face, the Crossmen, one of the beasts of the East. Michael, a identity change for these guys this year.
Completely different. They've gone darker, more symphonic, but in a modern way. The Alfred Reed Symphony for Brass and Percussion and the Samuel Barber, beautiful, beautiful School for Scandal overture, a real change of identity.
Something to watch for visually. They do some interesting things with big, long white poles out there.
They have a whole balance idea that changes what you think of color guard. They're used as balance, used as a visual idea that keeps your eye moving from one focus point to the other. It's very intriguing.
So watch and enjoy the Crossmen.
On the field, from Newark, Delaware, the Crossmen. Are the judges ready? Drum Major Matt McAllister, is your corps ready? Crossmen may take the field for competition.
We're into modern music here in the first part of our program tonight.
You know, it's very funny to hear all of this modern symphonic stuff, especially something as dramatic as that wonderful piece the Crossmen just gave us. The crowd really appreciated it.
We've seen those folks out there in the green shirts running about on the field to and fro. The judges, Michael, they put on a few miles in the course of a night.
They do track and field down there, Steve. I've got to tell you, Eddie Argenziano, who's doing percussion on the field, we caught him and he was flying. Dennis gives us a really close look.
When you're out there in the field with today's drills that seem to be running around, drum lines are moving more than ever, how does that affect your ability to evaluate?
Well, getting out there with these corps and running around, it could be quite tough at times. You need to see these corps throughout the season, get some exposure to them, and learn some of the shows, know where to go and not to go, and talk to the staffs a little bit. But your heart rate gets going. You got to be in a little bit of shape to do this.
So how do you learn to pace yourself over that distance?
You don't. You can't. You know, it's just stamina. You know, and do what you can. You know, we do get into the pit and go up to the stands a little bit. You get a little bit of a rest, but your adrenaline works because the kids' emotion levels are so strong. You just forget about it. And usually, when the 17th corps goes on, you're ready for another 17, which is kind of neat.
What's the rush for you as a judge about judging at the semifinal or final level?
The emotion level of the kids, being on the field, that's why, I mean, I hate to see the day that we finally move up to the stands. It's probably going to happen when all the judges move up into the stands. But being with the kids on the field and feeling their energy and seeing them cry and laugh and emote on a personal level is wonderful. There's nothing like it.
Big night so far. Up next, the Colts from Dubuque, Iowa. We've talked about identity changes here tonight. This is another corps going with a different bag.
You know, Jeff Bridges, who's the program coordinator, really gave them a distinct style this year. It's Broadway, but without the showbiz edge. Sunday in the Park with George by Stephen Sondheim.
Kind of an abstract adaptation of Sondheim's life story.
It's true. The idea of inventing for art's sake.
Enjoy the Colts.
On the field, from Dubuque, Iowa, the Colts. Are the judges ready? Drum Major Christian Bauman, is your corps ready?
Ready, one.
Colts, may take the field for competition.
There we have the Colts. A nice subtle ending, getting a nice reaction from the crowd here.
Well, you know, it's a Broadway ending in its best image. It really has a lot of power and it has a lot of scope. From Dubuque, Iowa, the Colts.
Sometimes even a drum corps understatement works effectively. This is a very, very emotional night for many of those kids down there on the field, Michael.
It sure is, Steve. We call them age-outs in drum corps. When they turn 21, they turn in their credentials. It's the cap to their career.
And it is something to behold up close and personal, which is where Dennis is right now.
Beth, you're in the Colts and you're aging out tonight. When did you first join the Corps?
I first joined in our Colt Cadet program in 1983, and I moved to the Colts in 1990, and I'm aging out tonight.
So that's an awful long time to be in one organization. Why did you join in the first place? Why have you stayed this long?
I joined because my sister did. I was young, I didn't know what she was doing, I just wanted to do what she did. So I joined, and the Colts gave me something that nobody else in this world could, and that's a sense of brotherhood, a sense of unity that you can never get anywhere else. And that's why I've come back every year.
And now that it's over, how do you feel?
I feel a lot of different things right now. I'm happy, I'm sad. It's something that I'll never let go of. It'll always be in my heart. I'll always be part of this organization. But I hate to have to let it go. But my body's getting too old. 13 years is a long time to march on a football field.
Well, I think Drum Corps is very special because of people like you. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
We've heard from the Colts. Up next, we have the Glassmen from Toledo, Ohio. A new sound for them.
A completely new sound for them. It's classical, but with a twist. Program coordinator Tom Atchison changed Beethoven and Bach into modern-sounding, modern harmonic, modern rhythms that really make their ideas come to life.
We think you'll like what you hear from the Glassmen.
On the field from Toledo, Ohio, the Glassmen. Are the judges ready? Drum Major Jonathan Miller, is your corps ready? Glassmen may take the field for competition.
Let us say amen to that performance from the Glassmen. They rather turned the stadium into a cathedral of sorts.
They sure did, Steve, and one of the ways they did it was with beautiful, beautiful original movement by Tim Glenn and Sal Salas, Mitch Wickard, and Carol Abahatab. Their trademarks are all over this beautiful program, something that's very expressive, very exotic, and very reverent at the same time.
Very, very moving music out there tonight from the Glassmen, a joyful celebration.
You know, Steve, some of my favorite people are the people that go from contest to contest selling souvenirs with the Corps' names on them.
And call it the flea market of DCI, this little traveling caravan that goes with the Corps. It's also a major, major moneymaker for the Corps. Dennis takes us through Souvenir Alley.
Steve, drum corps cannot earn during the course of the season enough money strictly by performance alone to balance their budgets. One of the many ways that corps use to expand their income is by selling souvenirs. We thought we'd take a walk through Souvenir Alley here and get a look up close and personal at what goes on in the day-to-day lives of these wonderful volunteers who sell souvenirs in behalf of their favorite drum corps. Linda, what's the best-selling product that you guys sell?
Our Tasmanian Devil shirt.
Why do you think that sells so well?
The Taz is hot this year.
We're here with Lone Star Drum and Bugle Corps from San Antonio, Texas. And what we'd like to know is what your best-selling souvenir item is.
Oh, by far, there's no comparison. Our best-selling one is the one right there in the white T-shirt, the Dick Does Drum Corps. It's a classic.
Something different? You want something different? Show you our color guard shirt. This was done by an artist who lives in Wales by the name of Janet Reed.
Here you go. Here's our best shirt. It's called the Blur shirt.
Why do you think that sells so well?
Probably because it pretty much stands for what we do. We're a mess when we come out. We usually end up a little bit clearer at the end.
The Drum Corps fan can find anything here, from T-shirts to hats to photographs to jewelry to cigarette lighters. Back to you guys.
It's interesting to look back at our Drum Corps past. The state of Ohio had some pretty lean years for top-flight drum and bugle corps, and now they've got two right here in the thick of things, the Glassmen and now the Bluecoats.
What a wonderful show Bruce McConnell has done. You know, he arranges both the brass and percussion, so it's a total musical portrait. This time it's home front 1945, a warm, touching view of the end of World War II.
And the Bluecoats tell it with a lot of pizzazz.
Bluecoats!
On the field, from Canton, Ohio, the Bluecoats. Are the judges ready? Drum Major Charles Stewart, is your corps ready? Bluecoats, we take the field for competition.
Definitely the liveliest reaction so far tonight to the Bluecoats of Canton, Ohio.
You know, we say they're not booing, they're bluing. The signature cheer for the Bluecoats from Canton, Ohio, and that wonderful John Sanchez drill. What an excitement.
Big party at the end celebrating the end of the war, of course, in history and reality, 50 years ago this year.
And in fact, almost to the day, V for victory.
Great show from the Bluecoats. We'd mentioned earlier that Bruce McConnell did both the percussion and brass arrangements for this corps. It's very unusual in drum corps at this level. What is not unusual is that we have many talented people here who write for both drum corps and marching band, and symphonic band for that matter. Even though they do that, it is two very, very different styles.
Steve, we're here with two of the finest arrangers in all of music, Robert Smith, J. Bo Cook. Robert, let's start with you. How do you approach arranging for the bugle as opposed to arranging or composing for concert band or wind ensemble?
The basic approach is fairly similar. However, I find using only the brass textures that we have to deal with in this activity allows you to be, or actually requires you to be, a bit more creative. And we spend a lot more time relying on the percussive elements of the ensemble as opposed to woodwinds or strings or any other type of ensemble we'd be writing for.
Jay?
I would say basically the same idea. With the drum corps idiom, because we just have the brass, it does create opportunities to explore a lot of brass tone color, because those are the instruments that we have to use. Whereas with a band, we have the woodwind color that we can use to create a lot more colors in that sense. So they are very similar in the compositional aspect, because we're trying to create the same emotional form through the piece, to create energy, to create whatever mood. That stays the same. Basically just the orchestration for the instruments and writing for the instruments is what's different.
We've talked about arranging. Some wild arranging has been done by the Santa Clara Vanguard design staff this year. They call this Not the Nutcracker.
Dave Carrico has done a wild job of taking a dreamscape Nutcracker and making it come to life.
I think you find it rather interesting. Here's Santa Clara.
On the field, from Santa Clara, California, the Santa Clara Vanguard.
As we mentioned, the show is a bit abstract, but even at that, we got some vintage moments of Santa Clara in there.
When the big boys come to play, Steve, they come to play. What a magnificent, powerful production from them. And what's really interesting is they've been supplying us with these for year after year after year since 1972.
They made the big jump into the 90s in the semifinals. We should explain to you, first-time viewers, you're watching the cores as the reverse order finish from last night's semifinals. And there was a big jump here with Santa Clara scoring the semis up to a 92.5 to finish 6th. And it really does set off this upper echelon, if you will. As Santa Clara leaves and Phantom Regiment come on, we mentioned Dennis a moment ago, and of course he is one of the best-known percussionists in the drum corps activity. Arranging for percussion in drum corps is a real art form here at this level, and Dennis can take us inside that whole process.
The percussion feature for the Phantom Regiment this year, the Piano Concerto No. 2, we conceived it by, first of all, listening to the original. And what I conceived is I wanted to actually see an orchestra on the field with the concert pianist up front being the pit, and I wanted to hear a cadenza. And every time I go to an orchestra, it's always a gas to see the pianist start with some run and then just lightning speed right up the scale, and then boom, fire at the end. And then the crowd is always receptive to that, and then the audience comes in, the orchestra comes in with the 5-1, the tonic, and the orchestra gets on its way. And that's what we did. And that created a really nice effect. It worked just as planned, and we're very happy with that. Now, later on in the Piano Concerto No. 2, we did a lot of listening to it, and obviously we're very limited on the amount of minutes that we can have a percussion feature. So we chose this one little folk melody from the Piano Concerto No. 2. I listened to it, and the original is very slow. And I began thinking, well, what if I took that faster and made it more of a gypsy flair so it would correspond with the closer of the show, so I could modulate into the show, thinking about the big picture. And that's where all the metallic percussion instruments came, because when I think of gypsies, I'm thinking finger cymbals and different types of metallics. And that's how we conceived the percussion feature. And we just wanted to bring new textures and timbres to the activity, and also some strong drumming at the end of it.
Entering the field behind us right now, matter of fact, they're coming right into Michael's ear. We have the Phantom Regiment from Rockford Loves Park, Illinois. They enter the field in unique style, and they control that field in unique style. They've done it again, Michael. They've created my favorite musical moment of this summer.
That must be the Rhapsody on the theme of Paganini.
Gorgeous, just gorgeous.
They have a whole show of beautiful, romantic Rachmaninoff, and nobody's more powerful or passionate than the Phantom Regiment.
As an old baritone player, I tell you, those Phantom baritones are something lush.
Like taking a bath in chocolate.
Sit back and savor.
On the field.
Phantom Regiment, Rockford Loves Park, Illinois. What a big sound.
You know, they've never stopped with that big sound, even when they're quiet, they're full, they're rich, they're dark. And this year, they're costumed in a very dark way, too. Very controversial for them, but a lot of the crowd really likes it.
They've certainly gotten to this crowd. As you may be able to tell, folks, we've gotten to the meat of our batting order, if you will. Still to come tonight, we have the Madison Scouts, the Cadets of Bergen County, the Blue Devils, and the Cavaliers from Rosemont, Illinois. This is going to be one wild chase for the title. All right, friends, get ready for this place to lean a few degrees to the right. Here come the Scouts from Madison, Wisconsin. Their show starts well before the show.
It's a party before the party. This corps is so strong, so masculine. They perform their opening movement before the show begins.
Right now they're coming on behind us in a company front. They're going to break into their characteristic trademark of the fleur-de-lis, and as they do, Michael, let's tell the folks about what they're going to see and hear tonight from the Scouts.
Well, their signature fleur-de-lis really signifies the kind of show we expect to see. After all, Madison's not a show that needs a concept. They are the concept. We come to hear what they have to play, and tonight it's full of Latin rhythms and Latin percussion. There is that fleur-de-lis.
The show itself, a day in the life of a bullfighter.
It is indeed, and it has some of the reverential qualities, the preparation for the fight, as well as for the big cape-swinging moment.
Even the Scouts warm-up is a production. Ravel's Bolero. Dennis is backfield in a unique position to take us inside this warm-up now. Dennis?
Steve, the Madison Scouts have been tearing it up all season long. It starts from the second they hit the field. This is their warm-up. Bolero. Let's get up close and personal.
On the field from Madison, Wisconsin, the Madison Scouts. Are the judges ready? Drum Major Tony Rother, is your corps ready?
Say it, Steve. Go ahead.
Place is electric. Multiple standing ovations. These guys have taken louder, faster, higher to a new dimension.
I'm not sure the audience can even see straight. They're still applauding. The corps is on its way off the field. What a magnificent performance from the Madison Scouts, Madison, Wisconsin.
Without doubt, the universal crowd favorites this year. And you can see why. It's nothing but sheer, total excitement. Well, we told you it'd get mighty interesting here in the stretch run. Now, Madison, of course, the crowd favorite, absolutely electrifying. They could be a dark horse to squeak in here and take the title, but these next three corps are the ones that really have the solid shot. The Blue Devils came into this week of eliminations undefeated. That changed in the semis and the quarters, but we know this corps from history has a habit of turning it up an extra notch here in the finals.
They deliver when the chips are down. When the chips are up, they just plain deliver. Carpe Noctem, a beautiful show that's really unusual. It's Drum Corps from the Dark Side.
Drum Corps from the Dark Side.
Very strange. The crowning of the dead queen. Beautiful, unusual percussion work by Scott Johnson, who has an unusual voicing. Listen to some really sounds that sound electric or unhinged. It's really crazy stuff.
Up next, the defending champs, the Blue Devils.
On the field from Concord, California, the Blue Devils. Are the judges ready? Drum majors James Gulke and Jason Lewis. Is your corps ready? Blue Devils may take the field for competition.
Concord, California Blue Devils, the defending champions. That big, dark sound living up to the billing, Michael.
It sure is dramatic, it sure is heartfelt, but it has a richness and a depth beneath the emotion that makes them champions every single time. Wayne Downey and that horn line, oh my goodness sakes.
Interesting contrast, seeing them back-to-back with Madison, two big sound producers.
And this year, two Latin shows, but talk about a flip on what they've decided to cover.
Scouts. Let's go to our man in the trenches, Dennis DeLucia.
But with the legendary Fred Sanford, DCI Hall of Famer, Santa Clara arranger going back to the 70s and 80s, certainly my favorite writer in the activity ever. Fred, I'd like your commentary about how you perceive the state of percussion has evolved, the state of drum corps music has evolved from the 70s into the 90s.
Well, first I have to say thank you for your comment on that. You know, that is almost decades ago, but yes, it's come a long way in that extent. I think from my standpoint, I've been more of a writer that has gone through more of the phrasings, and I didn't have the instruments, you know, the mass, you know, variety of instruments that are out here these days. And so we kind of stuck to the basics, you know, and we had to make the whole thing work on, you know, scores that really weren't necessarily made for drums, you know, in the sense of the marching drums, and you know, but we got through. It was like, you know, the addition of all the pit instruments, you know, that we used to march with at that time, carrying those timpani, you know, playing those marching xylophones and bells, and now you see what it's developed into. It's just so much better in terms of actually having a concert-style pit, being able to put all those instruments in the place that they're supposed to be, rather than having to carry them, so it's come a long way.
Up next, the Cadets of Bergen County. They upended the Blue Devils in last night's semis. It's that energetic cadet show off the top.
It's a trademark cadet show, but here again, something new. We can always count on them to bring something different to the field, and this year, scenery. Props that they do with their cadet trademark style. They're marching through them, around them, in them. It's amazing.
And they too are telling a story this year, 50 years after the end of the war.
Well, a small town right before the war with hope for the future. So we see that kind of trademark cadet marching, but we also see a narrative line really shown through the color guard. It's an amazing, tragic tale of boys going off to war, and yet we see some of the biggest swing, knockout, drag-out parties beforehand.
And we end it all with swing, 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 a little bit out of character for the contemporary cadets.
Well, very much in character. It's where they started, so I think it's a chance to look at their history as well.
Let's see, they want to put another title on that mantle, so let's listen to the Cadets of Bergen County.
On the field, from Bergen Field, New Jersey, the Cadets of Bergen County. Are the judges ready? Drum majors Joseph Reichert and Peter Simon. Is your corps ready? Cadets of Bergen County, we take the field for competition.
Well, the mark of a champion is turning it on when the pressure is on, and you can tell the cadets have been here before.
6 times before, and boy, don't they show it. That was an eye-opener and a heart-stopper, Steve.
They just got better as the week went on, didn't they?
They not only got better as the week went on, they got better as the year went on. This show has no resemblance to the one they came out with at the beginning of the year. The tale is the same, but oh my goodness, the nuance, the subtlety, unbelievable. And tonight, the power of performance.
Cadets of Bergen County trying to make it championship number 7. They're going to have to take out the Cavaliers, who are up next. We've seen some fantastic moves out there from some of those color guards, but Michael, it doesn't come easily.
No, it sure doesn't, Steve. I visited with the Cavaliers and their caption head, Bruno Zuccola, the other day. I want you to see exactly what it takes.
The basic way in which we start any aerial is the preparation prior to that, and that would be developing according to what your technique is. And to catch the triple is to release it and have 3 rotations and catch with both hands, hopefully around the waist level, so that it's nice and solid and clear to the audience.
How is that different than the Cavalier triple?
Well, what we do in the Cavaliers is oftentimes we start the preparation from a different place, a variety of places, and we also catch from different places. We also incorporate that in form and also enhance it with some body. So they may be lunging or leaping or bending from the waist or something to enhance that catch.
Can anybody toss these things, or does it take some special training? And how did they get it together?
Well, I think anyone can toss it. The trick is catching it, okay? And I think that anyone that is trained, hopefully developing through a program from beginning to end, could be successful.
Holy mackerel, this one's living up to its billing. Now, the semifinals yesterday, these top three corps were within 1 point of each other. The Cavaliers came out on top, and they just have staged a late surge, and it has been very, very impressive.
The show has always had a great deal of sophistication, but now it's sleek and it's lean, and every I is dotted, every T is crossed. Watch the details in this one, Steve.
Total coordination here as they put Gustav Holst's planets on the field.
Absolutely. Beautiful drill by a young man named Greg Poklocki.
Cavaliers, something special this year. Watch.
On the field, from Rosemont, Illinois, the Cavaliers. Are the judges ready? Drum Major Dustin Winson, is your corps ready? Cavaliers, we take the field for competition.
That show had something for everybody. The Cavaliers, what can you say but tasty, exciting, pretty,
masterful. When you see a crowd go this crazy for something this artistic, you know they've reached the heart and soul of everybody here. And with such detail, Steve, I'm shocked, I'm stunned. It's like seeing it new and fresh every single time.
For those of you judging along with us at home may have a sense of how difficult it is for these judges here in this stadium. You are measuring varying grades of excellence. These corps all doing something entirely different. And in a few short moments, we'll get the scores and find out who is the 1995 Drum Corps International World Champion. This is the moment of truth now. The corps is massed behind us on the field for retreat. It's been a whale of a show.
It sure has, Steve, and tonight's results are just exciting.
What do you say we run down the scores for you right now as we look at the corps on the field? Coming in 12th tonight, the Magic of Orlando at 82.4.
Sneaking right past them, the new corps, Carolina Crown with an 82.8.
Delaware, the Crossmen, an 85.1 in 10th.
And then, of course, the Colts with an 86.3.
In 8th place tonight, the Glassmen at 88.3.
And the Bluecoats with an 89.5.
6th place, the Santa Clara Vanguard at 91.9.
And my old friends, the Phantom Regiment at a 94.1.
In 4th place, the popular Madison Scouts with a 95.4.
And the Blue Devils, 7-time world champion, 96.7.
What a challenge we had for the top spot tonight. Coming out number 2, the Cadets of Bergen County at 97.2. And number 1 tonight, Cavaliers, 98.3. Reliable Rondo nailed another one, but the Cavies nailed it out on the field.
They were perfect in every way. I have never seen a show like that ever here. It's their second championship, first in 1992.
What a tussle we had for this top spot here and all the way down the ladder tonight. Some great performances.
Beautiful performances, some with subtlety, some with power. What a night.
I don't know where we go after this except to say that in 1996, guess where we're going to go for the Drum Corps International World Championships? We're going to Disney World. We'll see you in Orlando in 96.